Hello?
It's Thursday night! Woo!
Woo!
Welcome to iStream, Ustream, where we talk about all that stuff that's streaming right now. Currently, we are talking about WandaVision over on Disney+. So I am Lord Cash. I'm being joined by BitOfRits and AllThatPat.
Woo!
What's going on, my peoples?
My peeps?
Yeah.
Well, we just finished watching episode 6 again, just to make sure that it was fresh in the old noggin.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice little rewatch.
Yeah, I noticed some stuff that we didn't see the first time, so I think...
You noticed some stuff you didn't notice the first time. Everything you mentioned, I'm like, I said that when we watched it the first time.
Well, I'm just gonna say that two heads are better than... I'm just yeah. You're yeah.
He just doesn't listen when I speak.
He was like, focused in. He was zeroed in.
Oh.
He had the horse blinders on.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely excited to talk about today's episode and pretend that everything I said was brand new when apparently I am good at just regurgitating what you guys said to me in previous episodes.
Well, sometimes it's got to marinate a little bit before you can actually, process it back.
Oh, this is the full marination.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we jump on in, we're going to go do some housekeeping stuff. I want to go ahead and let you know of some of the other shows that you can catch on the New York Nerd Show. We've got those, the Slam Nation. We do a little wrestling recap of the WWE on Monday nights at 7 p.m. AllThatPat, myself, Lord Cash, talk about that. AllThatPat and BitOfRits do some video game stuff over on Tuesday nights. Usually it's or sometimes it's with the W2K18 and WE Battlegrounds. Lately, Pat, you've been doing the Cobra Kai mission. You completed the one side, and now you're going to the Miyagi side, right?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that, I would say. And I'm kind of torn, actually, because I haven't played Battlegrounds in a while, but there was a huge dump of new content, actually, this week. A lot of new characters and stages. So I might actually jump back on that horse because, pretty exciting stuff in the WWE 2K Battlegrounds environment in the world of that.
Excellent. And then the two of you also do some food reviews on various meal planning services. So definitely like, subscribe, and do all that stuff with the bells. And that way, whenever they do decide to jump on in and show you what they've been eating, then you'll be able to see that.
I've eaten in weeks.
I also am going to be working on a new Funko division of the New York Nerd Show called Funko Royalty. So we'll be getting that up very shortly. And then, of course, every Thursday we are here talking about something streaming related. And as I mentioned, we are talking about WandaVision Episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular.
Oh, I thought he was showing 6 with his fingers, and I was like, that was 10.
It's a W for WandaVision.
Because usually you do the numbers with your fingers.
Oh, no. It's this. This. Look at that. I'm making a whole new logo for WandaVision.
Okay.
I thought that was like, talking about like Halloween.
Like that.
So,
all of the above he is.
There you go. Well, we do also want to give the disclaimer here before we jump on in. There will be spoilers ahead, so be forewarned. If you have not seen the 6th episode of WandaVision, go ahead and save this episode, go watch it, and then come back and check us out later when we are when you have seen it. So we don't want to make sure we're not spoiling anything because we're going to be going over everything that we may have picked up and noticed it. So you've been warned. All righty. Well, since it is now fresh in your mind, give us kind of what your thoughts on the episode were. Like, what did you think of it?
Well, yeah, it was definitely good. There are a lot of different things that occurred in this particular episode that really kind of alluded to for sure that Wanda is in control, but not entirely. There's a lot of different things that was kind of she almost seemed confused about am I doing this? Because especially in the commentary and the conversations with her brother, that was really interesting, and some other aspects of like just the characters that we've already grown to know suddenly are not quite who we think they are. So overall, it was another interesting episode that left us more confused than enlightened, but ultimately enjoyed it for sure. Right?
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing who the different soldiers and the head of the who's the bad guy,
Hayward
and the doctor, what they're going to turn into in her bubble.
So if I understood correctly, there are 5 people that did not get absorbed by the hex. And that is Agent Jimmy Woo, Monica Rambeau, Director Haywood, and the 2 people that were in his vehicle that are nameless.
Oh, I thought they did get sucked in. I guess I'm remembering.
No, they because remember they were calling out, hey, is anybody there? Is anybody there? As they're just like booking it down the highway, trying to get away from it.
Yeah. No, I do remember that they were trying to race against it, but I guess I missed that last part. But I also, I guess, but before we jump into it, was the intro was kind of like that Malcolm in the Middle, kind of feel. So
yes,
that was amusing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really cool. So what's interesting is this. So last week was very much that of the 80s. But this week, it kind of seemed like we skipped the 90s a little bit.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out when Malcolm in the Middle actually came out. It was late 90s, early 2000s.
It ran from 2000 to 2006, I think is what I saw when I looked it up. I could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain that that's when it was on air.
Right.
So definitely it was before. We had Bryan Cranston, so it was definitely before that.
Bad.
There you go. I'm like bad blood. I'm like, no, that's not right. So yeah, it was definitely before that. So I don't know if the 90s officially got skipped, or kind of maybe because of like Full House taking place in the 90s as well. They're like, yeah, we'll count that as a twofer.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But definitely we lost the laugh track in this episode. We didn't have that we had from the 80s and the 70s and all that way beforehand. There was no more ahs or what or anything like that.
Had the break in the fourth wall though, with the characters looking at the screen. That was like a big thing of Malcolm in the Middle.
Right. Yeah. So as the kids would be walking downstairs, we talked about that Malcolm in the Middle-esque. That's pretty much what they were doing. So both Tommy and Billy were talking to the camera as at various points throughout the episode. So very much in tune with the Malcolm in the Middle type.
Go ahead.
Nope. By all means.
Well, I was going to say that last picture that you just showed, that was actually the first thing that I picked up on as far as a possible Easter egg was if you look at the kitchen table, you got a Rubik's Cube, which I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. But at the very corner closest to him, it is a red octopus, which I'm assuming is an allusion to a Hydra, Hydra, because it is an octopus or squid, whatever it is, as the logo. So I figured there it is. Yeah, I'm clapping. I guess I'm so excited about myself.
Yay, I got something. Yeah, no, I didn't notice that. So if that is truly something that was there, then that's a good on you. Typically I look for, last week's episode, there was the repetition of tigers. So if there's other octopus squid type creatures, I just didn't pick that up. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, so let's kind of run through the intro a little bit, because they don't select the lyrics to the songs by mistake. So and very much that says, don't try to fight the chaos. Don't question what you've done. The game can try to play us. Don't let it stop the fun. Some days it's all confusion. Easy come and easy go, but if it's all an illusion, sit back, enjoy the show. Let's keep it going through each distorted day. Let's keep it going. Though there may be no way of knowing who's coming by to play. And of course, then you got the nice little WandaVision logo there that they always have some sort of new logo. But again, it's right in tune with that of your Malcolm in the Middle type show. So one thing that kind of struck me as a little bit odd from that is, and I don't think I have the graphic here, but when Pietro shows up, it says as himself.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, who else would Pietro be if not himself? I know certain, intros would have, and like blah 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 blah, and then and so as Mr. Feeney.
Exactly.
They would have that top billed person that would actually get their character's name. So I don't know if it's kind of like an homage to that, or if something else is kind of, not quite right with him, which I have my theories. So that's definitely how the intro rolled. But of course, it rolls out and things got started really getting interesting because it's Halloween and you dress up for Halloween, or at least you're supposed to, unless you're Tommy, because then you're the cool twin, as he pointed out. And of course, Pietro is sleeping on the couch while they're talking. He kind of wakes up and ends up scaring them and speeding around, chasing after them, until finally Wanda comes down the stairs in her outfit, her Halloween costume, which, according to her, is a Sokovian fortune teller. Which, of course, are comic fans. We realize that is her Scarlet Witch outfit. So it'll be interesting to see where, we've got Vision in what his MCU attire is. And then, of course, they kind of broke it down to his comic book original, which, looks like a crayon, a booger, or a traffic light.
Or an unchucked piece of corn or whatever. I think he said something like that, too.
Piece of corn, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how Wanda's evolution is going to be from her comic book to her actual MCU costume as the Scarlet Witch, because that's one of the things that we've been told is by the end of this series, she will be the Scarlet Witch. So I'm excited for that. What was your thoughts on their costumes?
I thought they were hilarious. Like it was funny, but also like I liked the little throwback. You know what I mean? That acknowledgement to like their comic book. It honestly reminded me of the first X-Men movie when they got their costumes and Wolverine makes a comment of like, "What'd you expect? Yellow and yellow spandex or something like that." And I'm like, yes, that's a nod to the comic book costume. So
yeah, supposedly in one of the later films, that was a deleted scene that he opens up like a suitcase and's got the traditional orange and brown costume in it.
Nice.
So, but yeah, no, that was really cool. Speaking of the Halloween stuff as well, kind of wanted to do this little possible Easter egg. They talk about doing trick-or-treating while being in Sokovia at the age of 10 years of age. Do you see who potentially Pietro is dressed up as?
I was thinking it was Nick Fury, honestly, but I was trying to look at what Wanda was to see if it kind of went together, like it was like the Wasp or something. But definitely got a Fury vibe from him because of the eye patch.
So I don't know if it's supposed to be a Black Widow with kind of her hair with her braid that way, or if it's kind of like a mantis with her ears like that, or just could be nothing. Just could be a coincidence.
A butterfly.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but some of the stuff that was really cool is AllThatPat. Have you done this?
Yes, I have.
With soda?
Yes. Yeah.
I probably have done it with soda, but I have done it with
Soda?
With soda. Yes, be responsible, everybody. That soda goes right to your
family-friendly show here.
Yes.
Exactly.
I have never done that, actually.
No?
Mm-mm.
No, we'll have to get some soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't drink soda.
Yeah, so that was really cool to kind of see that happened. So hang on just one moment, please.
Sure. I'm gonna say hello to some of the people who have posted. So DJ Silence has joined us. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we have Kevin Dukes.
Yes, Kevin, great to see you. I know you were on last week as well. Thank you for joining us again.
Yep. And if any of you have comments that you would of things that we're talking about or things maybe you think that we've missed, definitely feel free to post on the chat and we'll share your theories and comments as well.
We love to hear what you guys have to say. If you've got any theories, definitely we can post those here, and we will chat about those. So my 5-year-old wanted a fudge round. So
our 5-year-old does too, but our 5-year-old is just within us.
Yep, the inner 5-year-old.
Yes, exactly.
All righty. Well, one of the other things I wanted to kind of point out is, I don't know if you actually noticed this, but the actor who plays Pietro, Evan Peters, he actually has a real tattoo on his left arm that says "Mom."
Yeah, I was wondering if that was like on there, like on purpose, but not real. I kept looking at him like, it says "Mom." I was expecting it to disappear, but it didn't.
Yep. No, that is his actual tattoo. And not only did they not try to hide it, but they actually put him in a short sleeve shirt to kind of show it off as kind of like, mama's boy.
Well, there you go.
So you kind of, have that tough exterior, but yet, the heart of the teddy bear. So I thought that was amusing. And then, of course, we talked about Wanda's costume and Vision's costume. So naturally, we have to get our third adult character, and that is Quicksilver.
Yeah.
He rushes out with Speed to go get their costumes. And I really wasn't, to me, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, he's just dressed up as Quicksilver, but I guess that's actually more in line with his costume as well, as Speed. And then we mentioned earlier that is kind of, the headband, the red cape, that is in line with his costume as Wiccan.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Everybody got in line with their comic book, characters, which was really cool in this particular episode. And I mentioned this before. Like, I thought when I saw the on IGN for the review, I saw like a little snippet. They had a thumbnail of Wanda in the Scarlet Witch outfit, and I'm like, oh my god, they spoiled it. Like, she became Scarlet Witch, and then it's like, oh no, it's a Halloween episode. It's just dressing like that just for the fun.
Yeah, no. In fact, they've speaking of Funko, they actually released those months ago. They had the 50s outfit, the 70s attire with Wanda being pregnant, and then they had the Halloween attire. And they just announced for Emerald City Comic Con that Pietro as Quicksilver, he's going to have his costume being released.
So they did these months ago. So like you basically could see that she got pregnant.
Yeah. Well, we already knew, like, that was in the trailer that she was having kids and everything. So that's minor stuff that they already kind of released.
You're talking to somebody who refuses to watch trailers.
And I will watch every single one of them.
Yeah, I don't like trailers. Although I did see the Mortal Kombat trailer today, but that's to the side.
But anyways, that's kind of how the first segment of, at least within the world of WandaVision. Then we have a whole bunch of stuff happening with Sword. So with that, they bring in the drone, and between Darcy and Monica, they get a little snippy with Hayward, and Hayward bites back. What's that?
Figuratively.
Yes, figuratively speaking. But what was your thoughts on some of the comments that they said, between the two of them?
I mean, I guess I don't remember the specific comments. I do think it was clear that they're trying to set up who's, obviously the good guys versus the bad guys. And it's pretty clear that Marjorie, what's her name? Sorry.
It was Monica.
Monica, thank you. Monica is definitely sympathetic, or empathetic, maybe is a word, for Wanda and what she's going through, and doesn't believe that she's doing this with bad will, which they've kind of like alluded to a little bit, but obviously is very clear now. And right after they get kind of thrown out, it sounds like they're able to kind of see they're investigating a little bit and can see that there's some kind of big secret, but they don't know what that big secret is yet.
Right.
And also they mentioned that Monica's DNA, basically her blood, has been gathered by Hayward, but also it's been altered by her visits into Westwood and Eastwood. There's a show called Westworld, so it's kind of like that. Anyway, so she's been altered in that sense too, because I think that was part of this discussion as well in this particular moment of the show.
Yeah, that happened a little bit later on in the show. So like some of the stuff that I remember was the thing that just kind of made me, laugh a lot was Darcy was like, "Hey, look, it's the guy who almost got murdered by his murder squad," and then Hayward's like, "Don't you work for me?" And she's like, "I don't know." And then of course, Monica's like, she's with me. And then they kind of go back and forth. And the one thing that really kind of stood out is when Hayward is like, "It's a good thing you weren't here when your mom died, because you apparently don't have the stomach for it." And I was just like, oh, wow, the gloves are off. At pretty much 3 snaps in a Z formation. So yeah, it was just, and pretty much at that point they get kicked out. The 3 of them, Monica, Wu, and Darcy, they get taken out. But then all of a sudden, props to Jimmy Woo. I had no idea he had it in him. He busts out and just takes the agents down. Monica, does her thing, and Darcy's like, "Why didn't you tell me we're gonna do this?"
Now, one of our viewers, we had talked about this, that there might be some kind of a connection here. I know we're kind of off on this, but you had mentioned, Lord Cash, that there might be a connection with the Fantastic Four. Have you heard anything else about that? Because like one of our viewers is asking about John Krasinski possibly being part of that connection as Reed Richards.
Right. So as far as John Krasinski, I would absolutely love it if he were to play Reed Richards. I'm a big fan of him. I love Jim Halpert off of The Office, Jack Ryan, as well as the the Quiet Place films. Absolutely fantastic. Loved that. Nothing has officially been announced that I am aware of. According to the showrunner and director of the show, she has come out and said there will not be any Fantastic Four introductions here. So I am leading that the text that she's getting from whoever's supposed to be her guy to meet up with is not going to be Reed Richards. That is my guess and prediction. We'll just kind of have to see if that actually plays out. But as of right now, that has not been announced, though I would be ecstatic if it did.
I think we made jokes last week that it would be a stretch.
Yes. We'll go back to that again.
Yeah. Bring it back around.
Yeah.
Yep. So then, of course, we jump back into Westview. And then this is where, I'm going to be showing a lot of screenshots because it's all about the dialogue. So there's been a lot of hints about Mephisto possibly being the big bad. And with that, you had Pietro yelling out, "Unleash hell, demons spawn," which, of course, essentially is what they are. They are, the soul of Mephisto being, manifested into live people. Right. So there's that little bit of audio. And then, of course, these little bits of stuff where Wanda's kind of testing him, so to speak. He's like, he was that one. He had that skin thing. I don't know if that's a kind of a reference to Doctor Doom, because that's one of the other things that's being thrown around is Sokovia, since the fall of the floating mountain at the end of Age of Ultron, that Sokovia is pretty much wiped out.
Right.
So Victor Von Doom is going to move in and create Latveria from the ruins of Sokovia. And that Pietro, Wanda, and Victor all knew each other in the orphanage back then. So that's one of the things that is being shopped around as a possible something.
Right. And obviously the Thing has the skin thing too, but obviously Doctor Doom would be more prevalent to this one. But yeah, I didn't see. It's the thing is like we didn't even catch that. Well, at least I didn't. Did you?
No.
So again, these could be just little bit of things that they're maybe throwing out as cannon fodder, just to make you think, make you wonder, like, are we actually going to get it? Are we going to get it? And then nothing pans out. There's a possibility of that. And of course, I always like the fact that they brought up again as like, hey, it's cool. I know I look different, which of course she's like, yeah, why do you look different? Right. So even she's not 100% knowing what's going on.
Casting.
And then I don't know if did you catch this reference? They yell out, yeah, kick ass. Did you catch that reference?
Does that have anything to do with the Kick-Ass movie?
So both Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters were both in the Kick-Ass movie.
Huh?
What?
So both versions of Quicksilver were in the movie. So because of this, I'm actually going to be adding this to my pizza movie night in the near future. We're going to be catching that out.
There's 2 Kick-Asses, aren't there?
Yes.
I have not seen Kick-Ass in a while.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, so
good.
I would suggest
starting with the first one though, right?
Yeah, but it might be a mommy and daddy movie, or maybe the olders, but
typically that's what we've been doing lately is the older ones. The 18 to 20-year-old can join with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then very similar to kind of last week, we had a little bit of the weirdness going on. Wanda goes in over and talks to Herb, who's dressed up as the monster of Frankenstein. I said it correctly. Don't know at me. And they're like, well, why don't you have Vision help you out? And he's like, Vision's not here. He's not helping. And he's like, is everything okay? Do you want something changed?
Right.
That was weird in itself, because it was like,
that's hinting that other people are assisting with this little bubble.
Right. And then he's actually calling what is happening, like
before it happens.
Yeah. It's almost like he's giving directions on stage, like
in terms of the Pietro and the 2 boys smashing the pumpkin, stealing the candy. Like he's like, what? Someone's stealing the candy, and then they go run around and do it. So that was definitely a little interesting.
See, I didn't catch it that way. Because they're moving so fast that they were doing it elsewhere.
Oh,
and they were and then whoever was calling it in over the radio, going, "Hey, the candy's gone." What? The candy's gone? They're smashing over the pumpkins. They're smashing pumpkins. Everyone's covered with silly putty. They're covered with silly putty. Silly strings, and that you're kind of just seeing that at the as it's kind of unfolding. Not so much that he's kind of giving them directions.
Yeah, I only saw it the other way the second time I watched it, only because he was asking her if she needed anything. So right. I felt like he was like the director in that sense. That's quite interesting.
I mean, he also was talking with Agnes in that one episode when the kids were born. Like they were kind of whispering on the side. So, he definitely seems to be more in the know than maybe some other characters.
I feel that Agnes and Herb are the 2 characters that we have seen so far that are not fully under Wanda's control / spell.
Right.
So definitely that's something that we're gonna have to see what happens the remaining 3 episodes. We are 2/3 of the way done. Only 3 more episodes.
Oh, that's not a happy thing. That's a sad.
But then we'll have more answers.
Hopefully, yes.
You can watch it all in a row.
Yes.
See, here's the thing. As it stands right now, if everything comes out on time, there will be something Marvel related being released every single Friday through the rest of the year.
Wow.
Because you'll have these 3 episodes. Then I don't know if you saw, I sent you this message that the week in between, they're supposed to be doing a kind of a, it's called Assembled, I believe it's what it's called. And they're going to be doing a behind the scenes making of WandaVision.
That's cool.
And then the following week, then we're jumping into Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's going to run for 6 episodes. Then you get your assembled episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then if it does come out, then that is when Black Widow will hit theaters. And then just kind of rolling into the next batch of Loki and all that other fun stuff, what ifs, and just various things like that. So it's going to be really, really cool that there's going to be something new every Friday for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but back into this show, Herb was talking about that Vision's not there, and that's because he was off on his own, kind of doing his own exploring. And this little scene was extremely creepy because the 2 people that we see there, the lady kind of hanging up the cobwebs, and then the guy in the background with the jack-o'-lantern, they were pretty much just kind of repeating the same motion, like they were a living GIF. So
she was crying, like a tear came down.
Yeah, so as it kept getting, Vision was kept watching them. Eventually, at one moment, you actually do see a tear coming out of her left eye. And so we're just like, okay, clearly showing again that this hold that Wanda or whomever has is in fact painful. And the fact that because they're on seemed like the theme of the episode is the further you were away from Wanda, the less importance you had. So therefore you didn't have much of a storyline, so you didn't need to be doing much, but yet they're still real people, so they kind of are doing something, but not a lot of stuff. So which is why they were frozen almost, or at least on low battery.
And she seemed like the first one though that was almost like aware, stuck in the middle, so to speak, because the others that when they get like removed, there's clearly an on-off switch between as they flip between 2 characters. She definitely seemed like she was in the control of Wanda, but also her real mind was understanding that she was, stuck. Because again, none of the other ones have shown emotion,
right.
Involved.
And I don't know if it's just the proximity to Wanda, if that has anything to do with it. So, but now's our favorite part of the episode, where we can talk about the commercial.
Okay.
How'd you like Yo Magic?
I loved it at first because it reminded me of like that era in late 90s, early 2000s.
Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, it reminded me of Chips Ahoy and some of the other ones, but then it gets real creepy. And really weird.
It gets creepy at the end because he can't get the magic open, basically the Yo Magic open, I should say. And he dies instead of being able to be like replenished by it, and it's very odd.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like it's very strange because like, why did this kid not have the strength or the ability to open a thing of yogurt? Like, was that alluding to like, them not having the ability to, get out of that place? I mean, like, as we'll see a little bit later, Vision cannot leave. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch talking about Vision being compared to a container of yogurt.
Right.
Well, no, the yogurt wasn't the person holding it.
No, yeah, I know. He's the boy that's starving.
Yes, he's the boy.
Yeah.
So one of the newest theories that I've seen float around is each of the commercials are themed after one of the Infinity Stones.
Okay.
So
yogurt?
Huh?
One of them is made out of yogurt?
Yes. So the first one was the Stark toaster, and that's based off of the Mind Stone, because Wanda actually in the comics refers to Vision as a toaster. And since Vision has the Mind Stone, that's where they're drawing the comparison to. The next one, very easy. Hopefully, the watch is the Time Stone.
Yep.
Then the next one, you've got the Hydra Soak, which comes in a blue box, which is reminiscent of the Space Stone that's housed in the Tesseract, which is literally a blue square.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is the Lagos paper towels, where they're used to pick up a red liquid, which is reminiscent of the reality ether that they show in Thor Dark World. Do you remember that one?
I remember the paper towel commercial.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not 100%.
The red ether that gets put into Jane Foster.
Okay.
Like a wisp almost.
Okay.
So that red liquid is kind of where they're drawing the comparison. And then this one, the Yo Magic, is based off of the soul, because it's basically feeding off of your soul.
Right.
Then there's sacrifices that have to be made in order to get the soul stone, based on what we've seen from Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
So that leaves the purple power stone for episode 7. So we'll see if in 6.5 hours, if that commercial for episode 7 in the 2010 time frame will actually be there. It looks like it's going to be the Modern Family style episode.
Okay.
So you're going to have that mockumentary where they're talking to the camera. So there's been
our viewers said basically that same. I figured we would get to this later, but that asking about if we had seen the clip, which we AllThatPat and I have not seen it, but it sounds like you've seen it.
Yeah,
and that it's like you're saying, similar to Modern Family.
Yeah, so there's a part where like she's literally sitting in the chair, and there's one clip where she's like, sounds like somebody got a case of Mondays. Am I right? Am I right? And where she's talking about how she as punishment for expanding the bubble and everything, the field, that she's going to punish herself by having a time by herself.
Yeah,
that's what she should do. Have a time out.
Yeah, that's one of our viewers, or the same viewer, was kind of talking about that too, and saying that the two sons are also have seen some weird things as well.
Yeah, they're playing video games, and they kind of goes back in time. So they're literally like playing PlayStation. Next thing she's got a Nintendo 64 controller in their hands, and then it's like Uno cards. So it's slowly kind of the hex is kind of unraveling a little bit, because it's now much larger, so therefore it's taking a lot more power and mind control to actually keep everything in place, that possibly some of the stuff is unraveling. So
another
that plays out.
Another thought was also that those commercials have a lot of references just to part of Wanda's past in general. We've talked about those, but yeah, so that's kind of like what we were thinking of. And I think there's probably a that Venn diagram of where this stuff that's dealing with Wanda, and stuff dealing with like the Infinity Stones, and kind of Westview is that little portion where they're overlapping, and so they're kind of one and the same. Because like we mentioned, the toaster was very well, Stark was the missile that killed her parents. The watch dealing with Strucker creating them, releasing your inner goddess of when Wanda actually became had powers. Then Lagos is the explosion that happened in Civil War, and then of course Yo Magic. This one that's kind of really hard to explain, except for we'll dive into this one now. Is there is another character that they're talking about as possibly being a baddie
for this one and possibly Doctor Strange 2, and that is a character by the name of Nightmare. And basically, that's what he does. He feeds off of your fear while you're sleeping, and that's what allows him to actually, get stronger. So that's where, this shark is kind of an embodiment of Nightmare, where he's actually, feeding off of Yo Magic.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have. I know AllThatPat had said he thought maybe the kid that had died is kind of signifying Vision, and then Kevin is saying that perhaps it means that the residents themselves can't eat, or that it's Wanda herself, that like this magic is kind of killing her slowly.
Right. Yeah, these are all definite good theories. Would love to wait till we get that the final episode, as well as get that making of to kind of really see where mentally we were going through. I would love to have like a commentary track of each of these episodes by the creators. Would be absolutely wonderful. That would be like, I would just sit down and watch this show all over again, super fast.
Right.
Like Quicksilver fast.
Now, we did have, I guess, a question that I think you'd be able to speak to more than myself or AllThatPat, but that Monica Rambeau had hinted in the last few episodes that she has an aerospace engineer friend who is going to help her with understanding the alternate reality that Wanda has created. Any ideas who that friend might be?
So I do have some guesses. One of them was kind of leaning towards the Reed Richards, but based on the creator's comments, I'm kind of leaning against that. And right now, either A, it's going to be someone that we have not, even like they haven't even laid the groundwork for this just yet, or it might be Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, just based on the design of the vehicle that they're using to kind of get back into the Hex. Looks very similar to the vehicle that they used to go through the quantum realm.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning him before. That
So which again, if they do bring Michael Douglas into it, that is potentially a high caliber guest star that would be on par possibly with a Luke Skywalker cameo that we had for Mandalorian. So that was something that was mentioned. So,
right.
3 episodes left. Hopefully next episode tomorrow, since they were only an hour away, that they're actually going to show where Wu and Rambeau are actually going to meet up with to find who that guy is.
Yeah.
So, because she got the text saying, ready, meet up in an hour.
Right.
And we had talked about it ourselves, but I'm very curious who the oh my God, what is her name? Yeah, the doctor is Marcy, right?
Darcy.
I'm curious. We are curious what she's going to turn into, because we didn't see that. We saw some of the other people turn into clowns and things like that. But
you want me to tell you?
No.
Okay.
Hold on.
Did they show it? They didn't show it in this episode. They never showed her, right?
No, but they released promo stuff for it.
So I can't hear you right now. So feel free to go ahead and say it. So
you might want to close your eyes because I have a visual.
Well, other people can't hear if you're making la noises. Jesus.
So is his eyes open?
No, they're closed.
Hold on. Go ahead. Show it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Is it safe?
Yes.
Okay.
It just showed the picture of what she's going to look like.
Oh, okay.
And what her possible job will be.
Pizza delivery.
Yes, you got it.
Waitress.
Spider-Man started in pizza delivery, so
The joke was that she's going to be a waitress based off of Two Broke Girls, the other TV series she had.
Could be. What was much too? Yeah.
She's in a few different sitcoms.
Dollface.
So, but of course, after we go through the Yo Magic commercial, we kind of jump back into Westview. Did you notice what movies were playing at the cinema?
I was trying to see them, honestly. I was like looking carefully on the posters. Yes, that I did. Yes, because they the posters for them too. But yeah, Incredibles and Parent Trap. Lindsay Lohan's going to be in it.
Quite possibly. That'll be the guest star.
Well, Parent Trap was the only good Parent Trap.
I liked the second one. It was not too bad.
Steve Guttenberg in one of them?
What's that?
Wasn't Steve Guttenberg in one of them?
Yes, that was the remake with
Lindsay Lohan.
With Lindsay Lohan. No, that was It Takes Two with the Olsen twins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why do I know this?
I don't know.
You just made me flex and like not show my flex skills. Wow, thank you.
Hey, it's Guttenberg at least. I mean,
yeah, that's Gutenberg and Christy Alley.
Yes.
So dialogue. Pietro and Wanda have some dialogue that they say. So, basically, he says, I've come to town unexpectedly, create some trouble, stir up trouble with the Rugrats, and ultimately give you grief. That is what you wanted, isn't it? And then he mentions, I got shot up like a chump on the street for no reason at all. And then the next thing I know, I hear you calling me. So that in itself is kind of, alluding to this is the Pietro from Age of Ultron, but he's, got a different face.
Yeah.
But it's also saying, this is what you wanted. You wanted me to show up, give trouble to, brother-in-law, strip stuff with the Rugrats and things of the nature. So it's pretty, kind of interesting to see where they're taking this and where it's going to evolve to.
Yeah, I found that a little confusing because obviously when she opened the door, she was very confused to see him. So for him to be saying, you called me here, seems confusing to me because maybe consciously she was, but I guess she didn't realize she was. And it was also, when the dog, for example, the puppy passes away and she says it's not appropriate to, bring back those from the dead. Now she's brought back technically 2 people from the dead.
Right. Well, they, when the end of episode 3 in the 70s, when they talk about, that she was a twin and, her brother Pietro. And then, of course, at the time, Geraldine was like, yeah, he was killed by, Ultron. So there was that reference there. And then in the 80s, when she's talking to the boys, one of them is like, don't you have a brother? And she's like, yeah, but he's far away and it's been a long time since I've seen him. So again, she's talking about him, which I think is subconsciously calling to him, wanting him to show up.
Yeah, it sounds like our viewer, Kevin, is also in that agreement of that idea of she wants him back because it's pulling she's thinking about the memories.
And pulling the 2 different versions of them together, like from the MCU and the Fox version.
Yeah, so and that's whether or not they're diving down the multiverse realm, or if they just was like, I don't know, we need to pull someone in, but your Quicksilver is no longer existent, so we'll just pluck the one from next door, a universe and bring them on over.
Right. And he has one more thought to share. If Pietro isn't actually Quicksilver, then wouldn't it just be like if Mephisto were to disguise himself to maybe get close to her? So maybe that's who the brother really is what he's hypothesizing.
That is one of my theories, because later on they have a conversation again together where, basically she asks, where is she hiding the kids up until now? Vision made the comment last week that the kids aren't there. And then of course he's like, you handle the ethical, consideration of the scenario as best you could. And she's like, you don't think it's wrong? She's like, what are you kidding? It's better than the big leap from giving people nightmares, which again is, I think, is a play into the nightmare character. And then he's like, how did you even do this? And what really gets it creepy is, I'm not some stranger and I'm not your husband. You can talk to me, and he's like, how? And then she's like, I don't know how I did it. So I think that is a possibility that is truly not her brother.
Because he didn't say that. Because otherwise, like, I'm your brother.
Right.
Yeah, so you could talk to me. Yeah, he never referred to himself as her brother.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that it's really.
And
bad.
all the questions that Wanda keeps like asking her about, you know, he's like, where, you know, she's like, where's your accent? And of course, he never answers. He always deflects and goes, well, where's your accent? You know, when they talk about you doing Halloween, you know, in the past, she's like, well, I don't remember it quite like that. And like, well, you must be, you know, thinking differently, you know, whatever. Got your wires crossed. So definitely, I think something was up with Pietro. I don't think it's truly him. Whether it is Mephisto, who knows?
You ready for this?
Go for it.
Kevin has another really good theory. I'm starting to think the surprise cameo they've been teasing is wrong. Taylor Johnson is reprising the role of MCU Quicksilver to give Wanda closure, to give WandaVision that even Peters is really Memphis. So like he thinks that they're gonna have both versions of Quicksilver to kind of basically give her closure who the real one is, while kind of from understanding what he's saying, it's just to kind of like reveal that the one that she's been seeing lately is truly a phony, more or less.
Right.
That would be very interesting to see it play out like that.
Yeah, if you have both of them, that would be cool. I don't think that's the big cameo that they're talking about, only because, according to Elizabeth Olsen, the cameo person is someone who both Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany have never worked with before. So since Elizabeth Olsen, both of them have worked, at least on the same movie with Evan Peters, or sorry, Aaron Taylor Johnson, then I don't think that's the cameo. There's still something big happening, which, okay, bring it on. I'm excited about the big cameo. So let me see. Oh, at the same time that they're over talking, you know, creepily about over by the theater, guess who grows up a little bit? You get Speed. Oh, Tommy gets his power, so he's now whooshing around. But of course, Mom is like, well, you have to, if you're gonna go break the sound barrier, you have to take your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and remember, and they're like, I know, don't go past Ellis Avenue. Yep, don't go past Ellis Avenue.
We're going to see that in a couple minutes.
Which is kind of what's the word? Foreshadowing.
A little bit of foreshadowing going on. So then, of course, we jump back over into the world of Sword, and we learned that Hayward is actually monitoring where Vision is based on the decay of vibranium. So, which who knew vibranium actually decayed? Which I know everything decays, but who knew actually that metal does?
Right.
And of course,
obviously, this is a nod that he has something up his sleeve of what he's trying to do on his end.
He's watching something, but based on the image that we saw, there's the people that are around Vision aren't moving at much.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just standing around doing nothing.
You know, they're not doing anything because he is dead. They don't see him because they're alive. They're moving when the kids are walking around, and when Wanda's walking around, he is dead. They don't see him. It's like Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. Sorry, spoiler alert. He's dead.
But other neighbors see him.
Nobody else saw him.
Agnes sees him.
Just Agnes and the other guy, because they are the main characters.
And his co-workers.
Damn it.
And his boss.
Damn it.
Good
guy. What about at work and at the town hall meeting at the library? There you go. You know, it's always a good theory. But of course, since no one's around kind of paying attention to him, he does change back into, you know, real Vision, and proceeds to fly away. And while up in the sky, he does notice that there is a lone vehicle just sitting there at a stop sign, really not doing anything. And who is in it? But Agnes. Then now she's in her witch's outfit, which this is the scene that they were alluding to, thinking that she might be Agatha Harkness.
She cackles even.
You know. But But again, they have their little moment where Vision's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm trying to get to, the Main Street scare place. Where is it?" And she's like, "It's at Main Street." He's like, "Oh, I must have got lost in the town you grew up in."
Yeah.
So he goes and he awakens her, very similar to that he does to Norm. And at this point, she like freaks out and essentially says, you're one of the Avengers. That she's like, "Wait, am I dead? Are you here to help us?" And he's like, "I would love to help you. Wait, why do you think you're dead? Because you are." And he's like, "What's an Avenger?" So it's just all sorts of kooky stuff.
What was with that? Why wouldn't he know he's an Avenger?
Well, obviously, some of his memories didn't come back.
Yeah, but why that?
So here's the thing. Vision has only this version of Vision has only existed from the 1950s television series. So that's 3 weeks that he didn't exist, plus his time, fighting Thanos and everything. He doesn't have memories of that because this is a new recreation of Vision.
Yeah, in the first episode, he said he doesn't know why he's here. He doesn't remember anything about his past. I mean, it's just he just knows he's Vision and he's married to Wanda. That's like all he knows right now.
Yeah. He even says, Wanda won't let us leave, and he puts her back to sleep state, and she's like, "Okie dokie, neighbor." Kind of goes back into the role, and then she proceeds to turn her vehicle around and drive away. And of course, at this moment, we do see that there's Ellis Avenue. Now, by chance, did you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
I mean, I a long time ago.
Right.
So there's a good chance that this is a nod to President Ellis, who was the president during that show. Or it could be, Ellis Island, being that, they're from New York. This is in New Jersey. I don't know. Maps.
Sure. So we do have one thought about why Agnes is there because, obviously she seems to always be where she's supposed to be and do what she's supposed to be doing. So perhaps she had enough willpower to have Vision notice where she was to try to hint that, try to get asking for help, I guess.
Kind of, leading him to water.
Yes.
Right.
Kind of have them figure something out. Interesting theory and that's one of the things that all people have said that whole experience was just a ruse. She was playing the whole, dead. She was just really hamming it up, performing. That would kind of lead into that theory. So interesting. I'll have to keep my my eyes open for possible clues to that.
Any thoughts as to why? Like, we've seen this in multiple episodes, though, where a character does ham it up, so to speak, and repeat the same word. That's happened, I think, 3 or 4 times now with just like a particular word. I mean, is there something even alluding to that? Like,
I feel like the repeated words, and perhaps I'm incorrect, but they are technically when something is going wrong, like when the boss was choking and the wife was on repeat, basically asking to help him. So like there were things that were off, and so then maybe they get stuck in like a loop or whatever.
A broken record type of thing,
potentially.
But that has happened to Wanda too, when she kept saying no to the beekeeper guy.
Well, it wasn't she repeating it over and over. That was her just saying no.
And she only said that once.
Yeah, and that one time.
Yeah.
But she said no, and then that was it. It's not like she went no.
Oh, okay. We watched that twice because I know like they had different viewpoints, different. Yeah.
So some other things that we noticed. We talked about Monica's blood work, that it's going through some changes. And this is possibly going to be leading up to her becoming either a Photon, Spectrum, or what other Marvel incarnation that they're going to get to give her. She evolves into Captain Marvel technically in the comic books. So I do believe that that's having going through the hex twice. On top of that, when she was flung out of the hex, she was encapsulated in Wanda's Mind Stone magic, which I think that may have done something to her molecules and her DNA to really mess her up. But this is also one of the reasons why her blood work wasn't there when she got the scan, because Hayward kind of siphoned it off.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
So, and of course, as soon as I watch it, I'm like, okay, I need to zoom in on that. I need to zoom in on that. I don't know if they mean anything as of right now, but there was a couple of other folders in there. One was labeled C4113, and the other one was labeled DF456. So I don't know if any of those have anything.
DF and CF, maybe it's two characters that are related. They have F as their last name.
Possibly. And then there was another one that's labeled Ray Johnson. Now, Ray Johnson, according to one of the sites I read, he actually was an experiment that he was done by Hydra, who later became a member of SWORD, and he actually had teleportation skills. And his code name was John Wraith. And has direct ties, according to one of the articles I was reading, to the Maximoff anomaly that I believe took place in the comic books. So I think that's just a nod back to the comic books. So
Trying to
that was kind of interesting. And then another thing that they showed was the file Cataract. Which this is there's two things that this could mean. One, I'm gonna cater to the video game persona of AllThatPat. Do you ever play X-Men versus Capcom?
Yes, I have. I'm looking. I have it right around here. Yes.
So there is a Cataract is one of the levels you play at. It's in the jungle.
Okay.
Which supposedly is on what is it called? It's the land of the dinosaurs, Savage Land or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. Yeah, so it's possibly that it's one of the Savage Land, which is an X-Men location. So don't know if that's any connection, or they're looking after Vision. What blocks Vision? Cataracts.
Oh, Jesus. And he's being blocked from knowing what's going on.
So I don't know if it's just plain as simple as that. And then, of course, when Darcy is able to find this stuff, goes to type in James Wu, and there's a couple names that populate in their Outlook. There's James Gad and James Alexander, which are two people that work on the post-production side. So James Gad works in post-production, and James Alexander is a VFX producer. And then the Sickler, no idea. Could be someone else, but I can't find anything on that one. So
I'm still stuck on cataracts blocking vision. That's
it's literally that, that's where they're going at.
Right.
So we talked about Wanda and Pietro having that conversation about, you can talk to me. And then again, we have one of those jump scares again. Wanda looks at Pietro again and sees the bullet holes from where he got shot up by, I think, was one of the Ultron bots, if I'm not mistaken. And so she has a little jump scare. But again, we look to see Vision is actually getting near. If you look on the screen, you've got the dot on the left is Vision, and then you can see the SWORD headquarters on the other side of the red barrier. So just very, very close, which of course that leads to Vision trying to get out proceeds to walk up to. You can see the hex there from the inside. Looks right up to it and eventually tries to walk through it. Now, what's interesting here is Wanda was able to walk straight through it, no problem, talk to the sword agents, but Vision, you can kind of see, is being sucked back in, is being pulled right back into the hex, and it's so powerful that he's actually being, ripped apart piece by piece, molecule by molecule, which, of course, that's really kind of hard to see because now you're watching Vision die for the third time. Not cool, people. But again, it's so strong that's pulling him in. And then, of course, we've already seen Speed gain his power. And then the next thing you know, we see Wiccan get his. All of a sudden, he kind of stops, starts hearing the voices, is able to stop Speed with his super speed, and pretty much go running to Mom, going, "Mom, Dad's in trouble." And then here's the other line that just makes me go, "Whoa!" And he's like, "Hey, don't sweat it, sis. It's not like your dead husband can die twice," which, of course, she does not like. Blasts him away with, her magic. And then again, here we have another little homage. If you look to the headstone on the left, Samuel Man, she is actually Janelle Samuel is one of the first AD off the show. So if you are a big part of the show, there's a good chance you're going to have your name mentioned in one of the episodes, which is, I think, awesome and great that they have little nods to them. Dr. Rivas, don't know who that is. Couldn't find anything. So,
yeah.
And then, of course, Wanda gets scary red eyes and proceeds to, level up, if you will, stops everybody in the main court and just goes, "No, we ain't playing this game," and proceeds to expand the hex. So you can kind of see Vision there kind of being pulled back in, but all of a sudden it goes past him. He's back to normal. Darcy's handcuffed to the vehicle. She gets sucked in. We don't get to see what she turns into, but I've already shown you. The helicopter gets turned into a balloon. And of course, you've got the whole circus theme. A couple of the agents, they go through, they become clowns.
Yeah.
A lot of people outside, they get turned into other performers, mimes or whatever. The big truck now makes me want to have a funnel cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, because that's what it gets turned into. So here's the vehicle. It gets touched by it, but as you can see, it does make it away and start shooting down. This was, I thought, was the best. Used car lot becomes a used car lot. And then, of course, all of a sudden, Wanda is like, yeah, that's enough. And proceeds to kind of be done with it. She's expanded and all that she's going to do. So definitely going to have to see how next week's episode is going to play out. And just kind of go from there.
Yeah, that was one heck of an episode for sure. Yeah, I'm just really curious, if there's anybody else that got sucked into the hex that we didn't see. Is the circus theme going to play into any of this? Because, they randomly did, everything was a circus except for the used car lot. So, I'm wondering,
and I almost want to say that there was a line that Wanda called them, like, you've got the circus out here, doing something. She called them a circus.
Okay.
And so therefore they became the circus. Right. I could be, wrong on that, but I feel like I heard that somewhere.
Didn't the Blob compete in the circus? Wasn't that like where he was started? Like, I know in one of the movies he was like a boxer, but I want to say that like there was a couple X-Men characters that were in a circus, like Nightcrawler.
Right.
So it's feasible, or like I could just be like, maybe it is just what you said, just like a throwaway line, that.
Yeah. I don't know. That's definitely something that could happen. One other thing because again, we are at the end of episode 6. we are 2/3 of the way through this series. We do not truly 100% know who the bad guy is. One, I think that's amazing because they've kept us on our toes this entire time. Got this whole mystery. Yes, they may have been dropping things here and there that people could have been able to pick up, but we truly do not know. That's probably the end of Act 1 when the reveal of the big bad. If it's not from the very beginning, you have that big bad plot reveal at the end of Act 1, or possibly at the end of Act 2. This is the end of Act 2. If 9 episodes, 3, 3, and 3. Come on, people. We should know what's going on to some degree.
I mean, this is the perfect time for water cooler talk, as they would say.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. Like, part of me was like, I'm like, just tell me, I want to know. But the fact that I don't know is truly amazing, and they have done a absolutely phenomenal job writing this, keeping all these these secrets under wraps. Like, absolute kudos to them. But tell me what's going on.
I didn't want to interrupt, but it's not water cooler talk, all that Pat. It's ice cream talk. Continue.
Oh, yes. You are correct. Yes.
So now one of the things that I did find that I think may be playing into this, and this was actually a video that Marvel did maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. It was one of their Marvel 101 where they kind of just they talk about a random character for maybe like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And this is one of the slides that they had on Mephisto. And it says, this team is known to make a deal, and the terms of those deals are not always as they seem. Mephisto has the ability to alter space and time, occasionally manipulating the deal maker into forgetting the deal ever existed.
Yeah.
Does that not sound like what's happening with Wanda?
No, not exactly. Well, yes, that's exactly what I think of.
That Wanda made a deal with Mephisto to have Vision back, and in so doing, altered space and reality, and the fact that Wanda doesn't know that she even made this deal. I feel like that, but she's still powerful. She still has magic. So I think she still has the ability to, okay, this is my environment. I can still manipulate it because of the powers I do have, but it was originally started by Mephisto.
Yeah, potentially.
So all I know is 2/3 of the way in, still no answers. We got another episode, and that's going to drop in 6 hours for anybody that's going to stay up to watch it. This is one of those times I wish I was over on the West Coast, because at least there's a midnight showing and I can stay up to midnight, but I can't do 3 a.m. unless I'm, sitting in the ER at the hospital. So I don't want to do that again. But yeah, no, I just so good. I'm as much as frustrating as it is, I'm absolutely loving this. So, any things that you want to wrap up before we head on out of here?
I mean, just a minor thing that all that Pat kind of mentioned to me, and I feel like maybe you had said this, where it seems like the first episode was only like 22 minutes, and they're getting a little longer each one. So maybe that's because they are going to do that bonus 10th episode that's going to be a full movie. So it's like leading up to even the longest amount of time or something like that.
Yeah. So there's about 7 minutes of credits, and once you actually see the please stand by. If you do the math, you got, you count, you get rid of the credits. You've got 23 minutes for the first one, 30 for the second. You've got about 24 for the third. Got about, I'm doing the math here, 28 for the fourth. The fifth one was the longest one. It clocked in at 42 minus the 7, so that's 35. And then this episode ran 38 minutes, so you were looking at 31 minutes without credits. I believe, and I saw this earlier, someone was talking about it, that there's roughly about 145 minutes left, based off of the comments that Kevin Feige mentioned a long time ago, that this is going to be a 6-hour experience. So we've done, that's a little over 2 hours there, about 2.5 hours. So if this episode tomorrow runs around that 35 minute mark, then your last 2 episodes could be upwards of an hour, that 50-minute mark.
Wow.
Then of course, you tack on your 7 minutes of trail of commercial credits. That's the word. You tack on those. And again, it's not that it's going to exactly clock in at 6 hours. You're not going to have another moment where if you add up all 23 Marvel movies, do you know what number you get?
Nope.
I Love You, 3,000.
What?
All 23 movies, if you add up their runtime, come up to 3,000 minutes. So, coincidence, again, you're not going to get an exactly, what is that? Wow, why is math not working right now? 60 times 6, was that 360 minutes? You're probably not going to get this show to run exactly 360 minutes. But if you get it at 345, 350, that's close to a 6-hour experience.
All they got to do is just have them like waving at the camera for like, okay, all right, that's it. And then,
Exactly. So I would say we're going to have an episode very similar tomorrow. And then my guess is the last 2 are going to be those lengthier ones, because you still have not had a Marvel experience, that Marvel battle. This has been 6 episodes of just tame, storyline per se. There's nothing been, blockbuster happening yet. There's, I've seen episode of the parts where they're throwing magic. She's throwing magic and hitting an old timey car, and it turns into a modern car. So that battle has not happened yet. So we're definitely gonna have to see.
Yeah, you actually maybe just reminded me of one thing that AllThatPat had mentioned when we were watching the movie or the TV show, is that, correct us if we're wrong, but this was the first intro with the Marvel intro at the beginning. Is that correct?
Yeah.
From the other episodes.
Every episode has had it.
I don't think they have. I'm pretty positive they haven't had the Marvel.
In fact, like the first episode, it turns to black and white as it's, as you see the Marvel logo pop up. It's in black and white.
We'll have to rewatch.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Every single one has had it.
Huh. I don't know. Okay.
So, all right. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap things up here. We have literally possibly talked twice as long as the actual episode has happened. That just means it's a good show. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Which again, why you're joining us on the 6th episode of this. But definitely, get out there, like, subscribe, the New York Nerd Show. We've got a whole bunch of content, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Check us out. Soon to be Friday. All the niblets in the middle. Yeah, that's little bits of time in between is niblets.
Niblets, yeah.
And then so we've got 3 more episodes to talk about, and then just kind of a mark your calendars. We've got a special spoiler review coming for Tom and Jerry, the new HBO Max show that's going to be dropping. I believe it's February 26th. But we're going to finish off doing all of WandaVision, and then so on March 18th, we're going to go ahead and do our spoiler review for that one. So this one's definitely been, if you're, you're geeks and nerds, Marvel fans, this is good. WandaVision has definitely been for those people. We're going to jump back into Falcon and Winter Soldier right afterwards, but this is going to be our little palate cleanser. We might even have some little people joining us, and that's
children, by the way, just
my daughter and some other people may be joining us. because she's been bugging me a lot to be a part of this. So she's the little person in my life.
Sounds good.
What's that?
I just said sounds good.
Yep. So, all that, Pat, you doing okay over there?
Doing great.
Alrighty. Well,
Giggles.
as they say, if you can stream it, you should watch it. So until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.